Howdy folks, and welcome back to Jurassic World Evolution, another video that hardly anybody's going to watch. What are you going to do? Yeah, in the previous Jurassic World Evolution video we finally completed, and completed is a loose term, but we did the starter island, Isla Lamentations, with all of the unlocks, and we managed to get a 5-star rating for the park. So now, it's time to move on to the second island, Isla Muerte. Island of the Dead.
As if prehistoric creatures weren't enough to contend with, on this next island, Isla Muerte, you may have some meteorological events. You know, storms, extreme weather, that kind of thing from time to time.
Yep, and he wasn't kidding.
As you can see, the weather on this island can be a little temperamental. First thing you're going to want to do is fix any damage this storm has caused. You should use a ranger team to get the park operational again. Oh, and don't forget to close any emergency shelters when it's safe to do so. Guests won't spend their hard-earned dollars huddled in a bunker underground, will they?
That must have been quite the storm. And it seems that bad weather is often a precursor to bad behavior from the dinosaurs. If you believe that everything is connected, the so-called butterfly effect, and I do believe it, by the way, then one small change is all it takes to create a series of toppling dominoes leading to rampaging dinosaurs. And they don't make a butterfly net big enough to stop them.
Yeah, the weather on Isla Muerte is pretty bad. Although it's not as bad as on some of the other islands, but it's bad enough to cause significant problems. Right at the start of this island, the park is screwed. And you can't even auto-assign your rangers to go around and fix all of the damage, because the ranger station has also been knocked out. On the bright side, at least you start this island with a ranger station, so that's going to save me $400,000. Let's just take a quick look around and see the actual land area that we have to play around with. The buildable area does actually stretch all the way down here, but it's kind of narrow, and it's all on a slope, so park management is going to be very, very important here. Now, it's kind of ironic that because of the way I'm doing this playthrough, I'm sticking with each island until it's done, until I've gotten all of the unlocks, until I've 5-starred the park, which is not really the most efficient way of doing it. It's very, very difficult to complete Isla Lamentations, the starting island, if you're not going to leave it until you've basically unlocked everything on it. Because you have a very limited selection of dinosaurs and a very limited selection of facilities to get that 5-star park rating. It's significantly easier if as soon as you get a 3-star park rating, you unlock Isla Muerte here, then you start on the Isla Muerte park with new fossil dig sites available and new dinosaur genomes which you can then take back to Isla Lamentations and get your 5-star rating the easy way. But because I did do it the hard way, it means that I'm now starting Isla Muerte with all of the unlocks from Isla Lamentations that normally you wouldn't be bringing to this island during the normal course of events. So doing it this way is a bit of a good news, bad news situation. Now, actually the storm is over. I should probably go ahead and close the emergency shelters and get the guests out into the park where I can get to work on extracting those big fat dollars from their pockets. They're not going to be spending any money when they're locked up in the emergency bunkers. They're also not going to be spending any money unless I've got some dinosaurs for them to take selfies in front of. And since I did 5-star Isla Lamentations and got all the unlocks there, I can introduce a brand new dinosaur into the park, the Sinoceratops. This is not something that you would normally have available to you during the normal course of events. If you'd just done this the proper way, 3-starred Isla Lamentations and headed to Isla Muerte as soon as you were able to. So this thing has a rating of 55 if I apply these genetic markers. And I have 100% of the genome, so I can afford to be a little creative with customization. There we go, rating of 58. Let's go ahead and incubate a couple of Sinoceratops. Another good thing about this park is you start off with 2 enclosures and 2 Hammond creation labs, so we're going to plonk our herbivores down in the first one, and this enclosure is going to be for the carnivores. I have just over $1 million and I'm losing money, and a Sinoceratops is going to cost me almost my full $1 million. Rather than do that, let's get ourselves some storm defences down. Because the weather on this island is not fantastic. This is a storm defence station. It does not prevent your park from taking storm damage, but it reduces the likelihood of your park from taking storm damage within its area of effect, and also reduces the severity of any storm damage that your park does take. So let's have a look and let's see what's available here. Science, entertainment and security. First unlock for science is hatchery capacity. We've got a toy shop for entertainment and archaeological dig speed for security. Although security does give us a medium power station as well, but that's the third unlock. Building space is going to be very limited here, and I want those medium power stations, so I'm taking the security contract.
Isn't always clean or easy, but it is always necessary. So look this contract over.
Right, he wants me to build storm defense stations, which is what I'm doing anyway.
Never liked the rain. It does something to my hair. I believe the scientific term is frizzies.
So this is, you know, kind of lucky.
Storm defense stations help protect your park's structure against storm damage. Useful, huh?
Indeed. And there we go. Contract complete. It's the easiest $100,000 I ever made.
We're taking this one to the bank, and we got you to thank for it.
So that's the first of a pair of Sinoceratops released into the herbivore enclosure. She ain't very happy just yet, but as soon as the second Sinoceratops makes it into the enclosure, she'll be quite content. They don't like being alone. They do require at least one other member of the same species, otherwise they start getting a bit fussy. Anyway, new island, new expedition centre, and with the new expedition centre we have a new expedition map. All kinds of new dig sites have become available. Dig sites in Asia are going to give us Velociraptor and Dilophosaur fossils, so that's two new species of carnivore that we can introduce to the park. And the North American dig sites have all manner of herbivores that up until now we haven't had access to. So we already have plenty of herbivores available, and Velociraptors are a pain in the arse. So I'm going to go ahead and dig up some Dilophosaurus fossils to keep the Ceratosaur company in the carnivore enclosure. You know, once I can actually afford a Ceratosaur. Because I'm running out of money fairly quickly, although I think I am actually turning a profit at last since we've introduced the two Sinoceratops into the herbivore enclosure. Yep. We're not making a lot of money every minute, but at least we're not losing money every minute now. If you manage to get a 3-star rating, it unlocks the next island, Isla Muerte, and a 5-star rating is going to unlock Dig Team Bravo. Now this is for the Expedition Centre. At the moment we only have one dig team that we can send out to dig up dinosaur fossils and bring them back to the Fossil Centre. But if you manage to get a 5-star rating here on Isla Muerte, it unlocks a second dig team that can be sent out simultaneously, so you get the fossils in twice as quickly. Of course, you spend twice as much money sending 2 dig teams out, and right now I'm kind of broke. I can't really afford to send many expeditions out. This is going to be a problem on Isla Muerte, by the way, at least at the start, once you've blown through your initial capital. Later on, you're going to be swimming in more money than you know what to do with, but at first, cash is going to be tight and you are going to have to be patient. And it's very, very important that you don't blow through all of your initial starting capital until you have built an asset containment unit, storm coverage for the existing facilities on the island, and you've gotten a couple of dinosaurs into the enclosures, complete with facilities for guests to actually see them. If you have any spare cash left over, the Science Centre and some of the medical treatments for the dinosaurs should be your next priority. But that asset containment unit is an absolute #1 must-have. Your first $400,000 should be spent on that. Because there are storms here on Isla Muerte, and even if all you have in your park are a couple of nice placid docile herbivores, the storms can and will upset them, and may also break down the fence. And if the storm doesn't break down the fence, the upset dinosaurs who are panicking in the storms may break down the fence. And if you don't have an asset containment unit, you have no way of tranquilizing those dinosaurs and getting them back into their pens. And you might think a herbivore getting loose isn't going to be any real threat to your guests. You can just take it easy and let it run around. It's not going to harm anybody, and build the asset containment unit once you have the cash. Well, you'd be wrong. A herbivore isn't going to eat any of your guests in the way that a Velociraptor or a Ceratosaur or a pack of Dilophosauruses would. But a panicked Sinoceratops is entirely capable of trampling dozens of guests as it runs around the park trying to find somewhere to hide. So get yourself that asset containment unit built. And there's another storm on the way, so let's get those emergency shelters open. Oi, peasants, get your asses indoors. I love how there's that one bunch of tourists just casually just not giving a shit, just wandering around in front of the entrance to the shelter as everybody else runs screaming through the doors. Right. Not all of the storms have the same severity. Sometimes they do no damage whatsoever. Other times they wreck your park. So, you got my rangers on standby to repair any damage that... There we go, building upgrade's been damaged. Small power station. Yeah, not good. Well, the ranger station is still intact, so I can automatically assign the rangers to go ahead and do it. Fast food joint's also taking some storm damage. Looks like one of the herbivore feeders needs topping up as well. Yeah, this could have been a lot worse. This really could have been a lot worse. I don't think you get them on Isla Muerte, but on the next island, Isla Tacaño, you can get tornadoes. Have you ever tried driving a Jeep in a tornado? It's not fun. Okay, this storm could have been a lot worse. We have actually gotten off quite lightly here. And it should blow itself out soon. And then we can let the guests out. There's no damage to the fences. Don't have to worry about any of the dinosaurs getting out and trampling them. And hopefully, before too long, I can start making enough cash that I can introduce a couple of carnivores into the other enclosure. And the storm is over, and all the damage has been repaired. It's very important that once the storm is over, you release the plebs from the security bunker. Come on, peasants, get out of the basement, bring your wallets with you. Right, I finally have some cash, so let's see if I've got enough to release a pair of Dilophosaurs. I've got 74% of the genome, but I'm not going to bother with any genetic tinkering because that's going to push the price up. And the price is not far short of 400,000. Well, I don't have 800,000, but I can at least incubate one of the eggs. You might recognise these little buggers from the original Jurassic Park movie. Dennis Nedry managed to get his face chewed off by a pack of them. And that's the thing. These little buggers run around in packs. You cannot just release one of them, or it will cause trouble. But I can only afford to incubate one egg at the moment. However, just because I'm incubating the egg doesn't mean I actually have to release it. I can just leave the egg cooking until I've got enough cash to incubate more eggs, and then release them all together. So that's the plan. In the meantime, I want to try to generate a little bit more cash by increasing the diversity of the dinosaurs available in the park. So that means it's chicken lizard time. Yep, the Struthia miners. Dumb as a box of rocks, but cheap, cheerful, and they really don't care where you put them. And they really, really are very, very cheap. There's a limited amount that you can actually do with the genome to make them a bit more photogenic, but you can't really complain too much when they only cost $30,000 or $40,000 each. You see, right now my problem with the Dilophosaurus is this. They're going to cost me just under $400,000 each. Now, I've got the money to incubate another two, but I don't have the capacity to incubate another two. Now, in my Hammond Creation Lab, I have 3 success chance modules. Each of them boosts the viability of an egg's successful incubation by 10%. And I have 74% of the Dilophosaur's genome. So 74% plus 30, 104%. I don't actually know what a stable group size is for a pack of Dilophosaurs. Is it 2? Is it 3? Is it 4? What exactly is the minimum size of a social group of Dilophosaurs? If it's 2, I'm good, because I'm incubating 2 eggs. But I can't incubate any more without removing the success chance module from the creation lab and swapping it out for a hatchery capacity module. And if I do that, I'm not 100% guaranteed to successfully incubate the egg. And if an egg fails to incubate, that's a $398,000 mistake. And I just don't have that kind of money. Well, I do, but I can't afford to waste that kind of money. Not yet. So do I take the chance and release a group of 2 Dilophosaurs and hope that that's a large enough Dilophosaur population for them to form a stable social group? And I suspect it probably isn't. Or do I wait, send out more expedition teams to Dilophosaur dig sites, recover more of the Dilophosaur's genetic code, get it to at least 80% so I can swap out one of those success chance modules for a hatchery module and then incubate 4 Dilophosaur eggs at the same time once I've got the cash to do it. So I can release 4 of them at the same time, because I'm pretty sure 4 Dilophosaurs, hopefully, there's a large enough number for them to form a stable social group without getting all upset, tearing down the fences and chewing visitors' faces off, because that would be bad for profits. Then again, maybe I can get away with 3. This is with an 81% genome. To release 4 at the same time, I would have to have a 90% genome minimum to accommodate the extra hatchery module. Do you remember these things from the original Jurassic Park movie? Yeah, that's the bit everybody remembers.
This dinosaur, the Dilophosaurus, lacks front-facing binocular eyes, a trait common to almost every predator. So instead, it hunted by scent. And now, many predators rely on that sense as well.
Well, there's a contract complete for releasing new dinosaurs into the park. So that's keeping the entertainment division happy. The question is, are 3 Dilophosaurs going to be enough? There they are. Okay, there's 2 in the park at the moment. Third one is about to be released. You can just see the enclosure door opening at the rear there. But it seems that 2 is enough. 3 is better, of course, because then if one of them dies for any reason, you're not going to have, the survivors throwing a hissy fit and tearing the fences down and chewing guests' faces off. But 2 is the bare minimum. And there's another contract
You met
complete.
the objectives and secured a victory. I was expecting no less.
We're now making $100,000 profit per minute with the introduction of our brand new carnivores into the park. Of course, with these new attractions in the park, the problem now is I don't have places to put all of the guests that are turning up wanting to see them. So, our first hotel, $750,000 a pop. Don't try this at home, kids. And there are our current 3-star attractions, Larry, Mo and Curly, the Dilophosaurs. Let's take a look around the park as it currently is. Here's the herbivore enclosure with the 2 Sinoceratops and the 2 Struthiomimus. Don't want to get too close in the helicopter because it does tend to panic them a bit. You can see one of the Struthiomimus is running for cover. And we still have all of this ground down here that we can also exploit and create new enclosures and new facilities, breed more dinosaurs. There is a bit of a bottleneck there in the wooded valley leading down to the open area to the south, and that is going to be a bit of a problem, but, well, we'll worry about that later. Right now, we've got more guests arriving, buying their burgers and their t-shirts and staying in the brand new 3-star hotel. Speaking of 3 stars, we don't have to do an awful lot more to actually turn this park into a 3-star resort. And when you do that, you unlock the next island, Isla Tacaño. Of course, we're doing this the hard way, so we won't be rushing there anytime soon. We're going to be sticking around here on Isla Muerte until we've gotten all of the unlocks and we've turned this into a 5-star park. The island facilities themselves already have a 5-star rating, but that's always quite easy. All you have to do is ensure that the guests have enough places to stay, they have enough food, drink, entertainment, and they can see the dinosaurs. The trick is getting the dinosaur rating up to 5 stars as well. And for that, you're going to need more dinosaurs. And of course, the more dinosaurs you have, the bigger the chance that something's going to go wrong when nature decides to toss a spanner into the works.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Yep, there's another tropical storm incoming. My emergency shelter coverage is adequate. I have the bare minimum, i.e. 1 shelter. But my storm coverage, the storm defense stations, Not so much. Well, from an insurance standpoint, my storm coverage is perfectly adequate. 90% of the park is covered by storm defence stations, but that 10% that is not actually covered by an active storm defence station just so happens to be the bit at the end of the carnivore enclosure. Oops. I managed to get the storm defence station down and constructed and connected to a path, but it's out of range of the nearest electrical substation, so it's not actually doing anything, since it has no power. This had the potential for things to go horribly, horribly wrong. But, as storms go, this one is actually quite mild. Nothing has actually suffered any damage. And I managed to get the storm defence station up, running and powered, covering the vulnerable part of the resort that wasn't covered by storm defence. So I started to relax. No damage to the park, we have an expedition that's coming, let's see what fossils we have.
Really great job on that contract.
Excellent, there's a science contract complete. We've got some rubbish that we can sell and some Ankylosaurus fossils to research, and we've completed the research on the second version of the Success Chance module for the Hammond Creation Labs. So this is all good stuff. No harm done, no damage caused by the storm. But it's not just damage to the park facilities that is the threat that the storms pose. Can you hear the banging noises? Yeah, I completely missed them. And in fact, I picked this precise moment to go back to the emergency shelters and let all of the guests out again. And the problem here is, well, you see, the storm doesn't just have the potential to damage the park facilities. It also upsets the dinosaurs. And the Dilophosaurs have broken the fence down in 2 places and are now running amok. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the park director speaking. If you would all like to return to the emergency shelters, please form an orderly line and do not panic. We have the situation well in hand. The rangers are fixing the gaps in the fence caused by the rampaging Dilophosaurs. I appreciate this is a little bit late, but hey, at least when we tranquilise them and get them back in the pen, they're not just going to run straight out again. And hopefully the asset containment unit will be on scene in time. Oh, this is fine. There's nothing to worry about. Okay, maybe not. It might still be okay. Maybe he didn't have any relatives. Dead guests are fine, as long as they don't have relatives. You see, dead guests never sued anybody. The relatives of dead guests, on the other hand, they can be a bit of a problem. Could that asset containment unit hurry up? Okay, never mind. In your own time, you know, whenever you're ready. That looked like one of the science staff. We can't afford to lose them. They're valuable. Oh, where did it all go so horribly, horribly wrong? Not long ago, this park had a very nearly 3-star rating, and we'd almost unlocked Isla Tacaño. Now, not so much. How the hell are we going to recover from this? Well, I guess we'll find out in the next episode, because that's pretty much it for today. I hope you've enjoyed it, and as always, take care, and I'll catch you next time.